Eustass Kid and Basil Hawkins debuted on OPTC Global on the 27th of October 2020. Following the hype of super types introduced into the game, Bandai followed up with providing support for the Dex typing, with two brand new super type legends. The characters that debuted in this batch include Red Flag X Drake, former Drake Pirates, Page 1, Animal Kingdom Pirates Toby Ropo, and the Sugo-Fest exclusive that we'll cover in today's video aims to change tandem slots that you would naturally receive into bomb slots, with a special ability that deals massive damage, on top of providing a great attack boost for the Dex typing. Introducing Eustass Kid, Dragon Challenging Magnetic Captain. In this series, we'll be traveling back in time to experience some of the older Sugo-Fest exclusive characters in their prime, aiming to show just what it was like to use these characters on their debut. I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's enter the Legends of OPTC. So thank you very much for checking out yet another episode of the Legends of OPTC. So looking forward now to the next batch of characters. We just got done with the initial release of super types with Luffy, Sabo, Katakuri, and Blackbeard. We have 2 strength units. We had 2 int characters. I think it's about that time we shuffle things up and have a look at a new typing for the super types, and this time we're focusing on the Dex typing. So straight after the celebration, the next big celebratory event was the after party celebration, which brought us 2 brand new Sugo-Fest exclusives and a full batch dedicated to the Dex typing, bringing us Legend Kid and Legend Hawkins. In this video, we're specifically just going to look at Eustass Kid, which was definitely the more exciting of the 2 characters. We're going to talk about Basil Hawkins in next week's video, but lo and behold, like, this character was just never really that great, even on initial release. The character even got a 6+, and even then really never saw much play. Before we actually get into the legends though, let's actually talk about some of the characters that debuted around this time period. I don't think it's actually shown here, yeah, but the treasure map character that came out, so between this batch and last batch, we had a treasure map Luffy. It was a Dex Luffy, and that Luffy had perfect synergy with this Legend Kid release. Along with this batch, we have some new rare recruits. There was a Clash Sober Mask as well, this free-to-play Otoko, and the 2 rare recruits of X Drake and Page 1. So X Drake here, the first rare recruit, Dex, Powerhouse, Slasher. Captain ability doesn't really matter. Size slots beneficial for Dex could be kind of useful, but then the special ability, which would do 50 times his attack and Dex damage to a single target, reducing chain multiplier limit and chain coefficient reduction by 5 turns, which is essentially chain locks, chain reductions. He also gives you an orb lock for 1 turn, and if you have a Dex Captain, you get a 2.25 times orb boost for 1 turn. Makes sense, right? If you're just focusing on a full Dex team, this is pretty much what you want to build for. The support effect of this guy hasn't really seen that much play, but it's actually still pretty good, attaching to Page 1, Hawkins, and Kaido. Anytime you're inflicted with chain limit or chain reduction, reduce it by 2 turns. This could be pretty useful, but there haven't been that many instances where this effect has been needed. So out of the 2 rare recruits, Page 1 and X Drake, this character has seen really not much play, which is unfortunate. The one thing though that is interesting is that in terms of Eustass Kid, for his super type condition, you need to run a supernova on your team. So if you did pull X Drake, you could use it in that regard. Now Page 1, this rare recruit was crazy. This is a very, very good rare recruit for the utility side of things. So he is also a Dex Powerhouse Slasher. Captain ability doesn't matter, but he made int slots beneficial, so if you use both of them as subs, X Drake and Page 1, making both Psi and int beneficial for your Dex teams, quite good. Multi-stage special, but specifically looking at stage 2, damage dealing special, removing attack down, burn duration, and blindness duration by 5 turns, as well as reducing the cooldown of your strength and Dex characters by 2 turns. He also has the ability to resist special reverse. Obviously, you can see where this character comes in. Being able to resist special reverse and these 3 debuffs by 5 turns, hard to really complain about that. This was a fantastic rare recruit. Another great thing about it, look at this support. Drake, Kaido, and Hawkins, anytime you're inflicted with attack down, remove it by 2 turns. I have used this rare recruit as a support tons and tons and tons of times. Very powerful rare recruit that came out really, honestly aged really well. The only real downside is that there's no like boosting effect that you get from the special, but it's a little bit like who cares, right? Because he's just providing so much good utility for a generic rare recruit. Let's get into the Sugo-Fest exclusive, of course, which is going to be Eustass Captain Kid, the Dragon Challenging Magnetic Captain. A lot of people were really excited about this one because this is Eustass Kid's first legend in the game. So people were very excited about this one. Dex-driven striker for this guy. His captain ability, you can see a lot going on. Dex attack boost by 4 times. All other characters still receive a 3.75 times boost. And then this ability here to change tandem slots into bomb slots. Now, while if you look at that like in today's day and age, that's actually probably a pretty big negative. You got to remember, this was during a time period where we didn't even really have powerful super tandem effects. Super tandem like potential ability hadn't existed yet. Final tap hadn't even existed yet. So the ability to change tandem slots into bomb wasn't really a downside because there were characters that you could use that would change slots into tandem, and you could just use that with Kid to change them to bomb slots instead, which is pretty neat. And then it also says it boosts the chances of landing tandem slots, so just making them more natural, like appear more naturally often, and as well as making bomb and super bomb slots beneficial to all characters. And then if a Dex character has a bomb slot or a super bomb slot, they get a 5 times attack boost instead. And then the real kicker here at the end, I believe this was the first character in the game to have this specific ability. Anytime that you would take damage from a bomb or a super bomb slot, you take 100% less damage. It basically sets the damage to 0. So being able to use him as a captain, fully abuse the bomb and super bomb slots, but also not have the downside where if you accidentally hit a good or a great, or if you need to get through a barrier by hitting a good or a great, it's not really going to be a detriment to your crew. He also makes bomb and super bomb beneficial as a crewmate, which is actually kind of important when you look at what the special does. So the special ability will change strength dex, bomb and super bomb slots into empty slots, but then it does 500,000 to 3 million damage based on the number of slots that you had consumed. So obviously if you consume no slots, it's still just 500,000 damage, but if you consume a full board of slots, you get 3 million damage to all enemies. And then it would also change empty slots into super bomb slots after that effect had occurred, and then you get 2.5 times attack boost for your dex units for 1 turn. So yeah, pretty cool ability, because if you're able to generate these slots on your team, you use the special, consume the slots, do the damage, and then all of those consumed slots will become super bomb, which of course he treats as beneficial. So I love what they've done here with the design. And it all is tied together perfectly when you look at what the super type ability does. In order to activate it, you just need a supernova character on your team, and the effect would do 100 times his attack in typeless fixed damage, which we'll probably showcase in today's video. The fact that it's fixed damage is really cool. And then change all slots, including block, into bomb slots, and then dex becomes super dex. Extremely good super special, and I believe with the super evolution of Kid, when it initially came out, they actually changed the super type. So instead of the super type giving you bomb slots, it would actually give you super bomb straight off the cuff, which is great. Now, the really cool thing you gotta remember is that super bomb slots specifically, they're kind of like rainbow slots, where the enemy cannot manipulate them around, so kind of like a assembler slot as well. So the fact that you have a character that has the ability to generate super bomb slots, which cannot be manipulated, you have an attack boost, you have a decent captain ability, like this guy was a really good unit. On release, was actually kind of solid. So pretty good overall. I'm really excited to use him today because he is just a ton of fun to use. And then he does have a support, which hasn't really been that great. The ability to change a random character slot into bomb hasn't really been that useful, but it does make them beneficial. So if you do need a random matching slot, I suppose this could suffice. And then of course Kid did receive a super evolution, and the super evolution basically just already did what he already was normally doing with bigger numbers, but then they added additional utility in the captain effect, which was definitely well received. And then it also will boost the attack of the dex characters by still the 2.5, which kind of sucks, but you also get the threshold removal on the special. You also get slightly higher damage if you consume all of the slots, but then also amplifying the effectiveness of the super bomb slots. So normally if a bomb or a super bomb slot is a matching slot, it's 2 times damage. This would make it 2.25 times damage. and the rest of it was pretty much still the same. But adding a couple of layers of utility was definitely a nice touch for this guy. So I'm excited to jump into some content by using Kid today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the game. So we are now in game with Eustass Kid, Eustass Legend Kid right here. So I went ahead and picked up one of my duplicate copies on my account and gone ahead and got it to level 99. We limit broke him, we gave him some cotton candy, and he's good to go. So really excited to jump into this one today, utilizing those bomb and super bomb slots. And the super type ability of Kid is one of the cool components, being able to generate those slots for you and then activating that powerful special to just do a ton of damage and then also get the super bomb slots instead, which is quite good. Now this is the team that we're using today. We're going up against Clash Zoro. So I think this is going to be a really cool way just to showcase the cool ways of using Kid. Kid was never one of those units you could use to clear like super high level difficult content because he just didn't really have utility. That wasn't what he was for. He was just a way to build a really solid quick team to kind of steamroll quick focused content. So let's go ahead and jump into the team today. In terms of the other units on the squad, we've got Monkey D. Luffy on the team. The Luffy that you do see on the team is the exact Luffy that came out during the treasure map period. Right before Eustass Kid's release. This Luffy is actually quite a solid unit overall. We do have the X-Drake, which came out during the exact same time period. The X-Drake is the rare recruit character of the batch that debuted alongside Kid. As for the other two characters on the squad, we do have Monet. This Monet basically came out as like a free character that you could go ahead and farm, which would help you clear Clash Zoro, which is exactly what we're doing here today. They basically made these free-to-play units that you could farm, and then by having these free-to-play units allows you to farm other free-to-play units a little bit easier. It's a bit of a weird thing. They've never really done it much, but yeah, a bit of a weird release. So you can see here that we do have a bomb slot on X-Drake. The way that it kind of works is that he will just change any natural slot that would be a tandem slot is automatically transformed into a bomb slot. So that's just kind of how it works. And the one thing with Kid that is kind of frustrating as well is that Kid doesn't really have a lot of defense going on either. You can see that a pretty low HP pull, no damage reduction, no HP boost, no end of turn healing. He's kind of like a glass cannon in a way. He's all about doing as much damage as you possibly can. But of course, you do get the higher damage once you can find those bomb slots, which can be a little bit tricky to come by sometimes. We aren't finding really many of them, but that's okay. It's not really a big deal. We just need to make sure that we have our specials ready to go. The bind on treble isn't really that big of a deal. So I think at this point onwards, we could actually just move on. We don't really need to stall anymore. So this is where we can actually have a little bit of fun with Eustass Kid. So a lot of these Clash content back in the day would always have a stage with these seahorses and these enemies that have really high defense and just generally very, very annoying stages. However, one of the cool things about Kid with his super type ability is that the damage that he does via his super type, it will ignore defensive effects and defense. So that's a really big deal. So as we see here, it's going to generate a full board of bomb slots, and then it does the damage that goes through defense, which allows us to just do the damage naturally. Because if you activate a special and it doesn't go through defense or def, then if an enemy's defensive value is really high, it can just block all the damage completely, which is really frustrating. So at this point onwards here, you can see that we had our orbs shuffled. We have a debuff on our team, which decreases the chances of these slots appearing, which is kind of like whatever. You do see that Tashigi does have a % damage reduction, but honestly, it's not going to matter with the way that things go. So we're going to go ahead and activate a Kid's super type here again, because we're going to be using the X-Drake special, which has the ability to lock our slots. And you can see just by activating the special of Kid, it goes through defensive effects, it goes through defense, so that went through the damage reduction there, which is great. Let's go ahead and activate the Drake special, which is going to allow us to get an orb boost, as well as locking the slots. And locking the slots is going to be important because we're going to activate the Kid special very briefly here in just a moment. The Allosaurus beatdown from Drake. Okay, so a tiny bit of damage. We're going to get an orb boosting effect. And then we're going to go ahead and use the Kid special ability. So here we go. This is Eustass Kid's first Sugo-Fest exclusive, activating that special animation here. So of course, with this ability, it's going to consume all of these bomb slots, and then it's going to do 3 million damage towards the opponent. They do have the damage reduction effect, which is going to block some of it, but almost got the complete knockout there from from our Kid. And then, of course, Kid also provides the 2.5 times attack boost. So from here, we can just attack and be fine. No problems at all. Who needs to remove damage reduction when you just do so much damage with this special ability? And here we are at the boss stage, where we can just basically activate the rest of our specials and go off. So yeah, being able to abuse these super bomb slots is really cool, because the fact that we entered the stage with these slots means that if the enemy Kid had an ability, or the enemy Zoro, should I say, had an ability to shuffle our slots around, it just wouldn't happen because of the way of the nature of these super bomb slots. Okay, so let's go ahead and use our Monet special ability, which is going to remove the damage threshold. It's going to remove the despair. We do still have to take note of that barrier that is on Zoro, so that is kind of annoying. Activating the Luffy special here, which is mainly just going to provide us with an orb boosting effect. And then we can activate the special of Treble and Doflamingo. Literally the only reason why they're here is because they provide us with a chain lock. Nothing really too crazy, honestly. It does have the ability to swap our slots around, which really doesn't matter either because we have a full board of Super Bomb. And let's go ahead and watch this again. Of course, Zoro does have a barrier which is going to block the damage from Kid's special, which is unfortunate, but just by performing 2 greats, we should be able to break the barrier and do a ton of damage towards him with a 2.5 times attack boost. I believe the Luffy provided a 2 times orb boost, and then we have our chain lock from Doflamingo and Treble. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and kill Zoro. Easy as you like, man. Easy as you like. So yeah, Kid is a really fun legend to use for sure, but it's just one of those units, as I mentioned, that he's not one of those key characters that you're going to use to clear high difficulty content. It's just not what he was designed for. It's just about a unit that does some really interesting things, allows you to clear content in really funky ways, and yeah, definitely was really fun to go ahead and use him. I just love that super type, honestly. The super type is just a really powerful mechanic. Let's go ahead and clear those, and we are done. Now, next week's video is going to be interesting as we cover the secondary Sugo-Fest exclusive that debuted alongside the Eustass Kid, being Basil Hawkins. The character is designed in such a weird manner. I'm not really too sure the best way to go ahead and showcase it, but we'll figure something out. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the video today, and if you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.